News Now is brought to you by the Bank of Guam, the People's Bank, Docomo Pacific, island-wide, worldwide, the choice is clear. And Micronesia Renewable Energy, go solar for zero money down. And Colgate Optic White, whiter teeth in 1 week. From the Pacific News Center in Hagåtña, Guam, here's Clint Ridgell and Janella Carrera with Betsy Brown and Roselle Romanes. PNC Sports with Blake Watson and Weather with Rebecca Kim. With your news now.
Hafa-day, it's Friday, December the 12th, and you're watching PNC's News Now. I'm Janella Carrera.
And I'm Clint Ridgell. Thanks for tuning in. Topping your news tonight. The legislature will not be voting on the incinerator bill during this term, so the bill will effectively die in committee. Senator Dennis Rodriguez Jr. decided not to move forward with the bill after today's public hearing.
The public hearing room was packed with people as lawmakers heard testimony on the controversial Bill 433, which approves the incinerator power purchase agreement between GovGuam and GRRP. Those in opposition to the bill came out in full force today, with several people holding signs in protest to the measure. Nevertheless, GRRP defended their project.
2 different governors signed the licenses. A 3rd acting governor signed the solid waste contract. 2 attorney generals approved the licenses. Another approved the solid waste contract. And 2 other attorney generals gave 2 separate opinions confirming the validity of the licenses and the contract. When you put all these leaders and professionals together, does that sound like a sweetheart deal? When the public hearing was convened to review the solid waste contract by the Speaker of the Legislature, does that sound like an under-the-table deal was made? Obviously not.
The proponents of the incinerator say it will save on space at the Luzon landfill, which is filling up fast, and it will save on money that is needed to expand the landfill.
The receiver has said he needs millions more to close the cells and even millions more to open more cells. We have high tipping fees that residents cannot afford to pay, and now we have illegal dump sites all over the island. We have Inalahan Middle School, where students and teachers can smell the garbage stench of that leads on dump. And we have residents of Inalahan who can see that nearby waters are being polluted by the leads and dump.
GRRP project coordinator David Sablon spoke, saying that the incinerator would put out less emissions than the power plants that Guam has now. Meanwhile, CCU Chairman Simon Sanchez and GPA provided testimony today in opposition to the incinerator.
Biggest sin of this whole transaction is when you look at other GPA power purchase agreements, the developer is very specific. How much does the plant cost? How will he run it? What is the technology? And ultimately, what is the price per kilowatt hour you are going to charge GPA, or in this case, the government of Guam, for the power you generate? None of that information is in this agreement.
I'm here to deliver a petition that's been signed by nearly 2,000 residents of the island who are against the proposal. And I'm here today because there's a lot of missing pieces that the senators don't have in order to be able to make an intelligent decision.
And ultimately, Senator Dennis Rodriguez Jr. decided that they did not have enough information to make a decision on the bill, so he announced today, after the public hearing, that he would not move the bill forward and would let it instead die in committee.
Congressman Gregorio Khalili Sablon's bill H.R. 83 passed the House this morning, Guam time, and is now headed to the Senate. The bill, which extends the Guam and CNMI-H visa exemption by 5 years, was amended to include the massive government funding bill. The vote was made after hours of party caucuses, and the measure passed the House with 219 yeas and 206 no votes. 218 votes were needed to pass the bill. It now requires action from the Senate, which is expected to vote on the measure on Friday, Washington time.
A former Simon Sanchez high school teacher has been charged with sexually molesting a 16-year-old student. 40-year-old Ricky Ogun Santiago was charged with 4th-degree criminal sexual conduct, unlawful restraint, child abuse, official misconduct, and harassment, all as a misdemeanor. According to a magistrate's complaint, the incident occurred sometime in January or February of 2014 inside of a classroom. The victim told authorities that Santiago called her over to his desk, then began touching her private parts. She tried to move away, but police say Santiago pulled her back. He then told her allegedly to make sure you don't tell anybody, according to the report. There was also a second incident in which the victim says Santiago pushed her against the door inside the classroom and tried to unstrap her bra. Department of Education Superintendent John Fernandez confirms that Santiago was a teacher at Simon Sanchez, but says that he has resigned as of May of this year. Fernandez could not disclose the details of Santiago's resignation, saying it is a personnel matter.
A 16-year-old JFK student was treated and released at GMH this morning after she was hit by a car while waiting for her bus in Dedido. As PNC's Betsy Brown reports, a lack of operating street lights were a factor in the accident.
An auto pedestrian accident by a bus stop in Dedido sent a John F. Kennedy High School student to GMH this morning. Guam police responded to the scene down the road from Lotte Mart at 6 a.m. The student was transported by medics after she complained of pain to her hip. Guam Police Officer Paul Tapau says a lack of operating streetlights and poor road conditions were contributing factors in the accident.
The conditions at the time of the crash, there was no lighting, there was no exterior lights or any type of illumination along the bus shelters. The roads were wet due to heavy rainfalls prior to the crash.
The vehicle was traveling westbound on West Santa Monica Avenue when the driver lost control and ran off the roadway, striking the student.
Pretty much want to remind the public, especially if they're locals within the streets and everything, that you should know the road conditions when it's wet, when it's dry, and it should dictate how you operate your vehicle. You know when to slow it down.
The driver of the vehicle, a 50-year-old male, was cited for imprudent driving. Betsy Brown, PNC News.
And in response to last month's hit-and-run accident that killed 3 young women on Chalon Ramirez and Jigo, the mayor of the village, Rudy Matanani, says he has plans to make the roads safer for residents there. PNC's Rosel Romanes has more in this report.
It's been 2 weeks since the hit-and-run accident that killed 19-year-old Cherica Gallen, 16-year-old Sally Santos, and 16-year-old Julia George on Chalon Ramirez in Jigo. Although no arrests have been made yet, the Jigo mayor says he plans to prevent any more fatalities in his village. But first, a resident of Zero Down Subdivision, Eddie Nate Winnis, identifies problems with Chalon Ramirez.
There's a lot of people that just drive in on that road like they don't watch the speed limit. There's that big curve because they just drive so fast on that curve, and there's like a blind side. You can't see people that's coming from coming out from the Chalon Ramirez road.
Alongside drivers not following the speed limit and the blind spot, Winnis tells PNC what he believes the biggest problem is.
The lights, the street lights, because of course it's so dark over there. And there's students early in the morning that walk out, and of course, we don't want another, another auto pedestrian accident.
We're here at the accident site on Chalon Ramirez, and to make this road safer for residents, Mayor Rudy Matanani says he's working with the governor's office to install 11 street lights.
We'll be putting up speed limit signs, slow down signs, and I think that if we do the grass trimming there, that would help too. Because I think, when the girls got hit, I think that the car might have been coming from that blind curve there.
Matanani says he hopes the project will start soon and be completed in less than 2 months.
As soon as the paperwork is done and the funding is there, we're going to do it.
He sends a message to those who were affected by the tragedy and adds a little safety tip to his residents.
My heart goes out to them, and I hope that they can heal as fast as possible, because I wouldn't want that to ever happen to anyone. And I'm trying my best to make it safe here in the village. The people all together have to work together and respect each other and follow the law.
Rosel Romanes, PNC News.
Well, don't go anywhere. Rosel Romanes will tell you what's coming up next on News Now.
Permission permission to come aboard. We're here at Big Navy. We're about to tour the USS Fort Worth. It is their first visit to the island during their first deployment to the Pacific. We'll let you know all about the tour and the USS Fort Worth when news now returns.